Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to talk about the true gas saver. We're going to talk about the Camry LE. Hey guys, it's Brian again. So today we're talking about the 2025 Camry LE. We're sitting in the front wheel drive version, which gets the best gas mileage. We're breaking into the 50s. So in this video, we're going to start with the exterior of the car. We'll work our way inside. We'll talk about the powertrain and then take it for a spin. Let's begin. Since 1982, the Toyota Camry was unveiled, and since then, 18 million of these cars have sold worldwide. Known for its spacious interior and dead reliability, the Camry has served a lot of different type of people over the years. And as you can see, for 2025, the Camry has a whole new style to it on the outside, which we will go inside soon, but I like to start on the outside first. The front of this car has a stubby shark nose, which is what I like to call it. We see a lot of flat noses on the new Toyotas. And down the board on every trim, LEDs through a projector beam. And as we walk around the front end of the new Camry, you'll see black kind of hides it, but we see more musculature cut into the hood here. And a little bit more protruding surfaces in the bumper corners, which reveal a functioning vent. We're looking at the base model here, so keep some things in mind when things are a little bit more basic, but we have a flat plastic here. On some of the higher trims, it will be color matching to the body. We have this nice diamond design on the grille with really good airflow. One thing that also changed is all of the Camrys are going to be hybrid now, and some have the option of all-wheel drive, but we're still on the exterior. On the LE, we have these nice lightly gloss finished alloy wheels with 5 forked spokes. 16-inch wheels are standard on the Camry LE, and this is the front-wheel drive model. One thing you may notice is that from the front fender to the rear quarter panel, the design is almost identical to the outgoing generation, but we have huge changes in the back and the front, especially on the interior, which we're going to get into. But it is interesting to see that we've kept things pretty much identical on where the doors attach to the body. Working our way to the back end of the Camry, here are the fully redesigned taillights. Definitely more sleek looking. There's like this swish going on. I call it staplers. Some people call it crab claws. This design is definitely not new to the car world, but on a Camry, I think it looks mean. It kind of has like a squinting scowl to it in the back. The hybrid badge now looks like planet Earth with the atmosphere, which is really cool, instead of just that little curved stripe in blue and silver, so that's a nice upgrade to see. Very sleek on that new exterior design. Here's a little peek underneath. A lot more plastic coverings as these cars get new, which helps with airflow and noise resistance, and it also protects the underbody of the car. So yes, the new Camry has been redesigned. It's not groundbreaking, but it's definitely different. But what is groundbreaking is under the hood. So let's pop the hood and talk about the big powertrain changes on this new Camry. Under the hood of all the new Camrys exists the A25A FXS, which is Toyota's 4-cylinder hybrid. So if you're not familiar with hybrids, please check out my Crash Course Hybrids videos attached in the links down below. That kind of breaks down how the hybrid system works, but just a really quick view of the hybrid system. Most Toyota hybrids either have the battery under the body or underneath the back seat, and the car is going to try to drive with the engine off at low speeds, and then at your higher speeds the engine comes on and the car does all the thinking. So it decides when it runs off the battery like an electric car, and then it decides when it runs off of the engine like a internal combustion engine vehicle, and it bounces back and forth, and sometimes it uses both without you having to decide anything, and that's what gets you the wonderful average of 51 miles per gallon, and it's rated for 53 in the city or 50 on the highway. This powertrain on the Camry LE front-wheel drive gets the most gas mileage out of all of the new Camrys because it's front-wheel drive and it's the LE. The SE will get you into the high 40s, and this model nets 225 horsepower, and this engine is mated to a CVT-E from Toyota, which is not quite the CVT you might be thinking of. These are very reliable CVT transmissions. But of course, even though it's a very modern car, things are pretty simple in design. For instance, the air intake is very easy to get to over here. You can check your brake fluids right at home, and your coolant levels for the hybrid and the engine are right here, easy to see. And down the line as the car ages, hoses and different electronics are very easy to get to, and you can still check your oil and change it at home if you'd like. But that's enough tinkering under the hood. Let's talk about the cargo space in the 2025 Camry LE. Popping the trunk from the key fob or the dashboard greets you with 15.1 cubic feet of space. Tons of room for luggage, sports equipment, and by pulling these little knobs over here on each side, it unlocks the rear seats in a 60-40 split to fold them down for your longer items. And underneath, let's take a peek at what is given to us. We still have a spare tire underneath. So underneath this tool storage here made of foam, there is a spare tire with some tools over here and some extra space. Really nice to see on a hybrid, because in the auto industry, we're seeing a trend where they get rid of the spare. So very nice to see a spare on this car. But speaking of spare, let's see how much room is left to spare with the redesign for the back passengers, and then work our way up front. Getting into the new 2025 Camry as a rear passenger. Looks like this. Let's take a peek at the sticker real quick. So we're still just under 30 grand on the 2025 Camry LE. Made in Kentucky. Here's our EPA rated miles per gallon, our standard features, and our optional equipment. I consider the seats upgraded. I like this, looks like glued or steam pressed design here. Let's get a little closer. We've got these waves that kind of come together and separate apart. They look like hourglasses going down the seat, but it doesn't go down the whole seat. Then we have a very similar fabric design to the new Land Cruiser 1958, just not as fuzzy in 70s, but I would say the interior, it looks nice, and it's definitely in par with what I would expect on a more entry-level basic car. But when you touch this interior, it feels very sturdy, and it feels like it's gonna take a little bit more of a beating than the outgoing generation, which is nice to see. And these ribs that form from the wavy design, you can really feel them. So it's not just looks, it gives you a feel. I suspect this will also kind of help with some of that temperature control on your upper back. I would have liked to see that down below because the lower back gets a little hotter, but still nice to see, and it's subdued. On the door card, very similar to the outgoing generation. So we have a very dark charcoal here with a sandblasted sparkly silver swish that blends in with the door handle. I think that's beautiful. No chrome, and a tiny little bottle holder, which is what we already have gotten used to on the Camry. The floor mats look almost the same with those leaves or teardrops, diamonds, whatever you interpret them as. And rear ventilation standard at the LE level with dual USBs in the back. Nice to see. Let's jump inside real quick. Okay. Nothing new here. Tons of space to see. I love being able to see behind my rear shoulder, and there's not a lot of space before I can look out the back glass, so you don't feel claustrophobic in a Camry. The armrest is in a good spot. It's still nice and thick. They haven't gotten cheap with the armrests. And I like that it doesn't hover. I like that it kind of just chills, because it's just one less thing to break personally. No quick storage like we've seen on some of the old school cars, where you can kind of unlock a door and access the back. That was cool on some of the Hondas, but it's nice. For space, at 5'9" to 10, with my seat a little bit further back than it normally would be, I got tons of space. I would say I got about 8 inches. With my legs together, same. Lots of space here. And the seat is not in my face like it is on some other vehicles. You will never feel claustrophobic in the back of a Camry. Love the back space. I could sit in the back of one of these for hours, and the rear seat is slightly reclined, much different than the pickup trucks. And another nice thing I like is, for people with little munchkins, these clips for the buckles They go right in and they don't get lost when you push this. Some cars, those get lost and you'll never find them ever again. And the hooks and anchors for the car seats, super easy to get to. Let's go to the Copilot seat and see what the inside of the Camry LE looks like up front. Here's what it's like getting in as a front passenger / co-pilot of the new 2025 Camry LE. Starting with the door card, very similar design. I have my reflectors here. I don't think these are an actual courtesy light. It doesn't look like it, but it's a reflector. I would have liked to see courtesy lights. I thought these were courtesy lights in the SE video. So if you watched the SE video, let me know if I called those courtesy lights. What I like here is that there is some cloth mixed in, and it's not just cloth on top of a hard plastic. There's a little bit of cushion going on over here, so it's, you know, if I'm leaning my arm this way, it's got a soft touch and a spongy material here at the base level, nice to see. So that area where you put your arm is going to be very comfortable. Up here, spongy as well. So unlike the pickups that have that hard knock plastic, listen, this is a nice, not super spongy, not quite as spongy as here, but we have all soft touch, nice to see at the base level. A little bit of hard plastic, but this is durable. The typical durable TNGA Toyota buttons. These are going to last all the way to the end. And that beautiful sandblasted silver swish that plays with the door handle. The manual seat for the passenger has a height adjuster on it, recliner, and a slider. So now you can raise yourself up if you're a little on the short side. And we have nice bolstering here for that passenger. This looks like it's a slight upgrade in the way it hugs you compared to the outgoing generation. Let's hop in real quick. All right. Now, traditional to the Camry and a lot of sedans, you do have to kind of lean and reach, grab it, and pull it. Here it is. First thing that sticks out to me that I really like is this retro modern vent in the front. They're not going crazy like on the new Honda Civic, in my opinion. That's a little bit too much with that grille design. I like the piano black here. And something I did not mention in the Camry SE review is I like this diamond cut that they're doing on the vent levers. That's a nice little touch. They didn't have to do that, you know, obviously, but it just adds a little bit of something. We'll talk a little bit more about this stuff when we jump in, but another nice thing is the piano black, which people often complain about, is in the right spot. It's up here where it can be looked at and enjoyed. Yeah, you'll get some fingerprints around here a little bit, but if they went flat, it might make this look a little bit like a sore thumb. This kind of blends in very nicely. Down here where we don't want the piano black, they've done away with it. Corolla, I'm calling you out. So now we have this nice lightly glossed, non-sparkly, dark gunmetal gray here, which looks really nice. It looks a lot nicer in person than it looks here. No more secret storage door. Charging pad is right there. A lot of people didn't even know they had secret storage. But yeah, I think they did very well. And don't forget, this cloth here with the padding works its way all the way over here. And it comes down, very driver-focused dash. And speaking of dash, nice and foamy at the base level. Really nice to see. For the Corolla, you'd have to go with the XSE to get that. At the Camry, base level, lots of soft touch. I really like it. Let's go into the driver's seat, start it up, and then take it for a spin. Oh, and real quick, before we go inside the driver's seat of the new Camry, one thing that I did not point out in the SE video, for the real Toyota superfans, listen to how the chirp changed very slightly. It's a little more modern. It's got the same tone, the same pitch. It's just a little sharper, and it has that nice cutoff. So it gives it a real nice modern feel. All right, let's go inside. The door card, similar to the passenger side here, all the soft touch material. I didn't mention storage in the front on the other side. Not a ton, but we're kind of used to that in the Camry. I'm not sure why we couldn't incorporate a little bit more over here, but maybe this is where we got like window motor stuff. I don't know. The auto touch down and up on all four is great. We're gonna go over more of that button stuff in the tutorial, which will be linked. Let me lift this up. The Camry letters on the floor mats are all black instead of white or gray, which do tend to look a little bit dingy over time. And no electronic seat at the base level anymore. So in the previous outgoing generation, we were given the electronic seat. Now we are back to the manual seat at the base level. Not a big deal for me personally, because I kind of like just being able to slide really quickly. But for some people that's very important because they don't have the muscles and the energy, or they have pain, so they can't really move the seat around very easily. But you can adjust the seat once, leave it where it is, and you should be okay. All right, let's hop in. Let's give it a quick little startup by pushing the brake and a push start. Now, being that it's a hybrid, we don't hear the engine start yet because it was not needed, which is interesting. We'll go over that a little bit more. The steering wheel is foam, so it's not leather wrapped. I will admit I love leather wrapped, but I did not expect a leather wrap at the base level. But it is a nice thick steering wheel. We have the little, nubs over here where they've always been for grip. This is interesting to see. Kind of like a portal with piano black. This is definitely going to be a scratch magnet and a finger, like a grease magnet, but it kind of plays a little bit nicely with this and this. We got to break up all of this flat charcoal gray somehow. Remember, there is design into this. I actually appreciate a little bit of that liquid shiny look. One thing that I didn't like at first that I now like a lot, funny right how that works, is the sandblasted emblem on the steering wheel. So a couple videos ago I said, oh, I prefer the chrome because it looks classic, it looks classy, it's shiny. I actually like this more because this is not going to show the scratches like the chrome does, and it's not going to shoot the sunlight into your face during certain times of the day. Let's take a look at the new and improved speedo cluster. I can use the arrows in the steering wheel to go through my different menus here. We will dive much deeper in the tutorial video for this car, which will be linked below. We have notches for the fuel level and the temperature. Very old school. So we're kind of going retro modern here on these new Toyotas. For the armrest, it's sufficient. It's not super spongy, but it works. Putting my weight on it, it feels firm and supportive, but it doesn't feel super cush. It's okay. Lifting up the door, comes up all the way. I would say halfway up the forearm, just over half. No USBs in here at the base level, but we get the 12 volt. Nice little carpet over here. For cup holders, all on the passenger side, with this nice little rubberized mat in here that I'm not sure if it comes out. But that's a nice little touch, and I suspect that's going to really help with the noise when things rattle around while you're driving, instead of clicking and clacking against hard plastic. The shifter is the same as it's always been. Simply down to drive, simply up to park. No buttons, no little mushroom shifter like on the Prius or the Grand Highlander Hybrid Max. Even though those shifters are cool, I gotta say I'm a true sucker for a classic. I'm very tactile. I really like the way that looks and feels. Of course, the drive mode buttons are identical to the outgoing generation with the brake holder. And like I mentioned, resting in front of the shifter is the flat wireless charger. Nice to see. And some USBs. The CarPlay and Android Auto is not plug-in anymore. It's totally wireless on this new software system, which I have a separate video tutorial on that will be linked below as well, just so we can keep things concise. And Toyota, what I really appreciate is we still have manual buttons, nice tactile buttons for the climate control. We did not go integrated into the screen. Super simple, super ergonomic. Love it. Up top, we have a non-dimming mirror, so it's just a flip switch, no auto dimming. LED lights, And a glasses holder with a soft backing here for your lenses. But we don't have LED in the back. We have an incandescent, so interesting, Toyota. I've seen that before on them. And a gray upholstery on the top. You do get the black with the higher trims. The gray is kind of nice though because it adds a lot of light to the interior. I will admit though, I love some black on the top. I suspect most LE drivers will not care what color this is. I could be wrong. Safety Connect from Toyota will come for 10 years or until the 4G network goes away, which is nice. That's a recovery system. And behind this camera is the frontal collision sensing camera for Toyota Safety Sense. So this Camry has a whole updated Toyota Safety Sense 3.0, which is going to add on intersection support, proactive driving assist, safe exit assist for if you're getting out of the car. There's tons of stuff that we'll go over in the tutorial. There's lots of safety packed in with this camera and the sensor on the emblem in the front. Not only that, you can turn off some of the features. You can customize their sensitivity. It's a great package. So that's what a lot of these buttons do. Of course, the auto high beams are standard. The adaptive cruise control is standard. That's all part of that Toyota Safety Sense suite. But we spoke about the exterior. We've been sitting in the car for a little bit. This seat is very comfortable. It feels like it hugs me really nicely. Let's take this thing down the road and talk about the way it feels compared to the SE that I drove and the outgoing generation of Camry. All right, so I'm in sport mode. I'm gonna give it almost full throttle starting now. Gets up to speed, no problem. So that hybrid system is nice and torquey. You can just feel the torque instantly. It feels really good. Of course, you can pick whatever drive mode you want. The visibility, in my opinion, is flawless. You can see everywhere. The road noise is not bad. It's better than the Corolla. You know, we're not in a luxury car, but that visibility in this Camry is amazing. It feels very low center of gravity, a twinge more stable than the outgoing generation. They're close. The regen brakes on the hybrid system are very confidence inspiring. Let's take the turn a little quick. Yeah, this car handles really nice, and this is a base Camry. This is a great, great daily driver. Got the AC on low. I can listen to a little bit of low volume music. This thing's gonna handle everything I put it through. It's gonna be great on the highway at high speeds, and it's just gonna do everything I want it to do. Compared to the SE, I would say maybe the SE feels a little bit more firm during the turns, as it should. It has that sport tune suspension. This feels a little bit more fluffy, which is what it's supposed to do. You know, a little dot more comfortable, but that SE is a little bit more driver focused. But yeah, great Camry. Toyota did very good. Let's get back to the store and wrap up the video. So there you have it, everybody. We took a look at the 2025 Toyota Camry LE today. We started with the outside, worked our way in, talked about the powertrain changes, and then drove it. Let me know what you thought down below, because you know you guys can always find me in the comments. I want to give a great big thank you to my subscribers and my supporters. And please, if you like this video, give me a subscribe. Just takes 1 minute to hit that subscribe button. Even if you think you might not watch another Toyota video from me, by subscribing and liking the video, it lets YouTube know to get my video recommended to other Toyota people, to expose them to the content that I create for them, and hopefully I can help more people out there. You make all the difference. But with that said, thank you so much, everybody, for watching. I will catch you in the comments and the next video. Peace.